Come here. Welcome to the Famous Foxes Aftermath Show, live every Sunday on Leicester Fan TV. Come on, you Foxes. Good morning, Foxes. How the devil are you today? How's your weekend been so far? Was it ruined on Friday night, or have you got over it already? Well, you know what day it is. It's Sunday. It's 10 a.m. So it's time for the Famous Foxes Aftermath Show, run by us fans in here for you fans out there. And you know what? Your opinion really matters. So get them comments in now. Let's get going. It's kick-off time. Come on, you Foxes.
The Leicester City machine is on the march again.
Leicester Fan TV presents a variety of content like fan discussions, match analysis, and engaging with Leicester fans worldwide. We want your views live, thanks to our sponsors, Everard's, Pucker Pies, Hologram, Take Me, Newbie & Co, and the Fox's Arms.
Want to watch more content like this? Hit the like button. Give us your views. Hit subscribe to Leicester Fan TV, and make sure to follow Leicester Fan TV on all socials.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you're well. I hope you're good. We shall start with, it was 6 years ago today that the passing of Vichai and his four companions on the helicopter after the West Ham game. I will probably get a bit emotional about this. I'm not actually going to have a great big speech about it. All I'm going to say is one thing, that he made us do this. Vichai had a dream to buy a football team. He came from Thailand and now he's one of our own. We play from the back and counter-attack. Champions of England, you made us sing that. Khun Vichai, you will always be in our hearts. Cheers for that. I just thought I'd better get that out of the way before we start talking about the football. It was 6 years ago today that it actually happened. It was unbelievable. I'll bring Kate in first because we'll talk. I need someone to talk to about this. Kate, it was such a tragic night that night, wasn't it? The West Ham game, Will scored a last-minute equaliser, and then it all went a bit wrong after that, didn't it, Kate? Were you actually at the game?
Yes, I was. Yeah, I was at that game. Yeah, it was. I think that was the game that Daniel Amati broke his ankle as well. And yes, I think we all felt leaving the ground that was possibly Paul's last game in charge, potentially, because things were looking a bit wobbly. And yeah, I had to sprint back to my car. I was due to go out that night on quite a big night out. And as I was sprinting back to the car, I did hear a bang. Didn't really think a lot of it. And then obviously your phone starts going off a bit and things start happening. And then you see the Sky Sports coverage and Jake Humphries. And it's so surreal because that's what we were used to seeing as Leicester fans, wasn't it? The helicopter on the pitch. It was just part of the course of what we were used to, and knowing it ended in such tragedy, like you say, even hearing you speak that song there, what an emotional day. And he's never forgotten. He's
never. I want to sing it. I don't think anyone wants to hear me sing that song. Not on a Sunday morning at 10 o'clock. That's for certain. Yeah, with living in Spain, with living in Mallorca over here, we'd arranged to go out, bang on the final whistle, and literally I pegged it up to the restaurant. A bit like you running to the car because you're going out. We had the meal, and all of a sudden my phone started going bing, 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 bing. I thought, what's going on? The missus was going, will you turn your phone off? And I said, hold on a minute. So I had a look, and it says, turn Sky Sports on now. And you better see what's... And I said, and then I got messages, and I said, we've got to go. So it paid the bill, went home. And it's just unbelievable, wasn't it? You don't think about that. Everyone that goes to football should come back, shouldn't they?
Absolutely, yeah. And Vichai was no different. And the guys on the helicopter with him, it was such a tragedy. We've had such an emotional roller coaster as Leicester fans. And, I know we've had owners, it happened to in the past, I think, was it the Spurs owner? One of the Spurs owners died really tragically in a helicopter accident as well in the 90s. You've had this.
I think that was Chelsea, Matthew Hardy.
Was it Chelsea? Sorry. Yeah, Chelsea. So it was just absolutely horrendous. Like, you'll never forget it. You'll always remember where you were. The weeks that followed were just so tough, seeing Top and the family with the Leicester lads, and Vardy was crying on the centre circle. It never gets any less sad or less tragic. It always happens to the nice people, doesn't it?
It does. Even just reading that song out, then I was starting to get goosebumps and I was getting a little bit emotional as well. But I'd like to say, Kate, can we move on to something a bit brighter now? But after Friday night, it's not really any brighter. I'm just going to bring Reedy in now as well, because I know Reedy loves a good chat about football as well. Considering he used to be part of the Forest backroom team in the tech company, didn't you there, Reedy, in the IT bit?
Definitely not, mate. Definitely not.
Kate, you were there. I mean, we came into this game looking to make it 3 out of 3 to get 9 points out of 9. We hadn't played that well against Bournemouth and Southampton, but it would have been the first time we'd won 3 on the bounce since January of 2021. But then we lost to 3-1, didn't we? And Chris Woods came back to haunt us a little bit. What were your feelings on the game itself? Because it really was a game of two halves, wasn't it? First half and second half was so different.
Yeah, I think obviously before the game, I was really excited, as we probably all were, to see Ricardo back on the team sheet and possibly Cooper finally finding his first 11. The first half was great. I think Forest still edged it, but it was really end to end. It was high intensity, fast paced. A poor goal to give away, 2 defensive errors really, and just the frustration was, and then that was the thread of the second half, is it wasn't doing the simple things right, and that's what I really, really struggle with. If you get outplayed, if you get outpassed, Arsenal battered us. It was a bit of a different feeling against Arsenal, but we basically gave Forest 3 goals because of our own shortcomings and not doing the simple things right. And yeah, really disappointing all round.
I mean, it was like, Reedy, it was. I mean, I'm a bit older than you. People call me a bit of a dinosaur, Reedy, don't they? Because I'm still living in the past a bit. But the 2 most important things about defending in football is, if in doubt, kick it out. Clear them lines. Don't mess about with it on the 18-yard box. And then the second rule, which I got taught, don't let it bounce on your 18-yard box from a clearance. Clear it. Get rid. Head it. Don't leave it for someone else to do it. If you can do it, do it. Don't leave it. They're the rules of football. Don't you think? Well, not the rules of football, sorry. There's what's ingrained into your mind when I was a kid. They're the first 2 things I was taught, Reedy. Don't they do that anymore, pal?
It is difficult because, again, the players that have done that, you would have thought easily that they would have thought, don't make the mistake there. Again, I was right in front of the Buonanotte kind of error, and I kept just saying, kick it out. Decided to dribble it out, and then the second phase of that was JJ absolutely fluffing a clearance out as well. So again, for me, the game on Friday was just a game of bad errors, and there was many reasons why we lost it, but majority of the game was down to our errors, because if them errors don't happen, for me, it was going to be a close game. But we basically just gave the game away and gave all 3 goals away. But I will mention that throughout the game, I will be positive about this. I preferred the way
you've been positive. Wow.
I preferred the way we played, because it went back to more like the Enzo football. I felt like we did have more control when we had the ball. I thought Ricardo in that middle, instead of being at right back, really did give him more support and a bit more solidity in the team. But again, you can't win games when you give that many goals away. You can't. And
no.
that is the biggest issue. But I will say, the people that are saying, "Oh, Cooper put these best team out now, ones that everyone's been asking for, and we lost," You can't blame the team selection on like the loss. Yes, certain players errors, maybe so, but the team we put out wasn't the reason we lost.
Okay, Reedy's just mentioned about the team selection. Do you think, because Steve Cooper changed his selection from how it was for the previous games to Friday night? He changed it, his formation. I know he changed it the last half of the Southampton game as well. Do you think he's got to persevere with this? Because that first half, it looked like it was working great. We were passing through the lines. I hate to say it. I actually hate to say it, because I didn't like the style of football last year. But it was very similar to Enzo's style last year, wasn't it? That first half. Do you think Cooper will stay with that? Or do you think he'll go back to his tried and trusted, what he's been doing the first 8 games?
I don't know really. I think a lot of that hinges on whether Christensen's going to be fit for Man U and Ipswich. And then I was quite surprised in the second half that I think the inverted fullback with Ricardo wasn't working that well in the second half because it left Fatu isolated. And there was no cover for him at times and no protection of that. So it was surprising to see that right-hand side got a bit battered again, that he didn't just bring Ricardo in in the second half and just keep him as a traditional right back. So if the ball's on the right side, the right back and the right winger just play with each other, and the same on the left, and they just overlap. I didn't like the coming in of Ricardo in the second half because I felt it left us exposed, and I think that's where Forest started to hammer a bit at us. So I would be happy with the same team selection. I prefer Winks over Ndidi, but that's a separate conversation. And I would probably try and persevere with Ricardo as a traditional right back.
Yeah, because you could play, but it depends how Christensen is, how injured. It's a groin injury, so we don't know how long that's going to be. That can be 2 weeks, a month. It could be anything. Whether we play as a stay-at-home fullback with Pereira, and then Justin does the work that Vichai does, or we go back to the formation of how we played against Forest. Swapping and changing, I don't think is going to give much confidence to the players, really. Do you think? Like, we'll play this formation there, this formation, this one. You need to stick with the same formation, don't you, pal?
We were forced into that kind of that formation because obviously, like Tom said in the comments, that Christensen was injured, so we had to change it up in some way. I will say, out of all the games I've watched this season, and this is mad to say that we did lose to Forest, but I enjoyed how we played better. And the way we did it against Forest was more like what we did last season, and it looked like we were a bit more in control. So it is hard to see us going back from Friday night's game to the formation we have been playing, because I felt like there wasn't any style or any kind of system going in the last couple of games. But it all depends if VK's fit, because I would prefer him over JJ. I think JJ's really like having a bit of a bad spell at the moment. I think the 2 goals versus Arsenal kind of gave him a bit of a free pass. But I don't know. I don't think that Christensen and Pereira fullbacks would work well in a team. I think if you have one of them, have Christensen and then have Ricardo in that midfield. But yeah, I'm just not too sure if the actual fullbacks would work together, because again, Cooper likes to have the guys run up the pitch. So
the thing that I'm a bit worried about, Kate, we seem a bit too nice on the park. Even though, like, Jamie Vardy is an inspirational leader, I don't think he's the one that goes into the dressing room, uses a bit of industrial language, effing and jeffing and stuff like that. Are we missing that leader? And is that leader Conor Cody that's sitting on the bench? Do you think he could come in and change? Because the first few games of FaZe and Akoli, I thought we were doing quite well, but the last couple of games, the partnership doesn't seem to be working. Can Conor Cody come in and try and grab him by the scruff of the neck, and when the standards drops, give him hell and that to his own players, let alone the opposition?
Yeah, potentially. I think the leadership question is one you could have probably asked over the last 3 or 4 seasons, really. We haven't had that sort of person on the pitch that holds you accountable and tells you a new one when you're on the football pitch. Like, they wait till they get back into the dressing room, whether there's influential subs or the manager, to have a go at you. So there's no one on the pitch to hold you accountable. Winks did that a bit last year. I remember a few times he gave Fatu a roasting, and Mavadidi as well. So yeah, I'd like to think that Conor Cody is that leader. And I went to the Northampton game pre-season last year, and I felt I was right behind the goal and I could hear him. You could really hear him. The problem is that because Enzo didn't play him last year, we've now got a former international that's the rust bucket. And that was shown against the Palace, wasn't it? When he made that just silly error, which was just all down to reaction timing and sharpness. So I think Cody is the natural leader, but you've got this problem where you've got 2 former internationals on the bench in Ricardo and Conor Cody. And I think Ricardo was a great leader last year. Like, he really came of age with the vice captaincy role. And again, I think it was at Ellen Road. I thought he was unbelievable in that kind of shouting at everybody, middle of the park, getting everybody to be more industrial. But the problem is you're letting these players sort of lapse and become less sharp. And then that's the problem. So whilst he can be a leader on the pitch, is he going to be up to it? I don't know now.
I mean, at half time, you wouldn't have seen it because I was watching it on TV. But half time, Conor Cody was in Cooper's ear. You could see it on the TV. They were standing on the touchline. Cody was giving it. I don't know what he was saying, and Cooper was listening to him and agreeing with him, and that's what I don't know what he was saying. And they were pointing and this, that, and the other. So I'm not sure what they were saying, but I'm sure Conor Cody would be that leader, which I thought we'd have got that. Sorry, get my words mixed up. When we bought him last year, if it hadn't been for the injury, I think he'd have been in the team from the start. Vestergaard probably wouldn't. I know Reid is Vestergaard's like love child because he really loves it. But I don't think Vestergaard would have been. But do you think it could have been Vestergaard? And I think it might be on Saturday. No, because Vestergaard's injured, isn't it? Is he still injured? Was he?
I think so, yeah.
I don't think he'll be playing against Man U, but Conor Cody could come in against Man U, and if he has a decent game, Reedy, could he get himself in contention for the Ipswich game?
See, here's a difficult one because if we stay playing the way we did against Forest on Friday, I'd prefer Vestergaard in the team. Obviously, I know he's injured at the moment, but because of the formation and how we set up, with Vestergaard being that ball-playing defender, I think he'd suit it better like he did last year. Again, that was the reason why he was so good last year, because he's the one player that, yes, he might be slow, but he can pass the ball very, very well. And I think you'd fit him better than Cody in that role. But if we were to go back to the style that we have been playing the first 7 games, I would probably say Cody in. But who comes out? Because again, Cody's got the pace, and then FaZe has been decent this season. But like I say, that error for Chris Wood for the 3rd goal was just not good enough at all.
He just let him hit his head, didn't he? He didn't try.
Yeah.
He watched it onto his head, and that was it. And it just bounced up, and it was like Sunday morning pub football, wasn't it? Really, that kind of defending is what you see on a Sunday morning down at Vicky Park or Western Park on a cold December morning when no one can be bothered to play. But another one that I think everyone wanted in Kate was Fatua. Now, he sort of, to me, watching it on TV, he sort of flattered to deceive a little bit on Friday night. Compared to his Southampton game, he came off them 30 minutes and was absolutely rampaging down the wing. And he was skinning everyone no matter what. But Friday night, he kept losing the ball. He was miscontrolling it. The passes were going. Do you think he's ready to start regular time? Or is it because, like you said, about Conor Cody being a bit ring rusty in that?
I was hesitant of including Fatawu from the start in previous games for this exact reason. I think when he started, did he start against Fulham? And I think he started against Spurs. He was a bit wasteful because he gets so excited. You can feel the excitement. You know he wants to do well. He gets carried away, loses it. And he gives away the ball. He just gives away the ball too much and he's too excitable. And in the Premier League, you've got to retain possession as much as you can, even if it's just doing the simple things, not the flair scoring from 20 yards. So I was hesitant to include him from the start because I think he's better against tired legs. But against Southampton, you can't have much argument with saying that he earned his stripes against Southampton, and it was a bit of a coming of age performance for the Premier League. So he absolutely deserved his start. But I think again, you've just got to manage him and decide when you think he's going to be an impact player and when he's not. But against Forest, you'd like to think he would have done better, but he just needs training his mind a bit. He kept cutting inside. I don't know if you noticed that, and that Forest defence was so narrow. Like, why are you cutting inside when it's just full of trouble? So against Southampton, we saw him go around the outside a lot. And that's obviously how the first goal was created as well against Southampton. So he didn't mix it up enough. He kept trying to cut inside and curl it. And Forest just packed it in there. So he's still showing his naivety. And I think he will be great. But this is where apparently Steve Cooper has these strengths in dealing with youth. So we'll see if he really cuts the mustard with that.
So this is where it comes to the old school bit of me. I like my wingers to go right to the byline, cross it in. Not cut in and try and score a worldie into the top left-hand corner that goes into row Z. But get to the byline and cross it in and get the players there. And we don't see that much now, do we, Reedy? There's not much of the old-fashioned winger. Even Mabadivi got right on my wit on Friday night. There was times where we had 3-on-3 and he kept stopping. And he slowed the play down. So not just him, indeed he did it as well. They just kept slowing the play down a little bit. And then they allowed Forest to come back. Why not just drive into the box like he was doing last year? Both of them were driving to the byline, getting the crosses over. But I don't know, really. Mabadiv and Ndidi, was it? I don't know. Their link-up play wasn't as good as normal.
I think Mavididi and Fatu are very different players. Mavididi likes to skill his man, tried to do anything he can, and then go and try and skill him on again. Whereas Fatu knows what he needs to do. Normally, he likes to get down to that byline, and then put that little chip in over the box, try and get someone on the header like he did with Vardy's goal. But I think Fatu did struggle a bit again, like someone said in the comments. He was double teamed on most of the time, so he couldn't really get through to that byline. But out of the two, I would say Fatu had a better game than Mavididi. I think Mavididi was invisible the most of the game. So if anyone's going to get dropped in the game against either Man U or Ipswich, it would be Mavididi in my opinion. But I think as well, because of the style we play, I'm sorry to keep pestering on about the style of play, but that one pass I can remember Fatu doing, where he passed it down to the byline and no one was there. He's kind of ingrained. That was ingrained in his mind from last season. Yeah. Someone's going to be in that run. And maybe he was so used to playing that style like last year that maybe that's what he was doing last year. He was cutting in instead of going down to the byline as much. So maybe I don't think Fatu had a bad game. I just don't think he had a great game.
It's the same. The youth, Bowen Naughty, was he? Is he 19 or 20? He's either 19 or 20, isn't he, Kate? One of the two.
Yeah, 19, 20. Yeah.
Is it because he's so young? He likes doing the tricks and flicks. He's not. When he gets the ball, he's skillful. Yes, you've got to admit that. But there's a time and a place. But is that the exuberance of youth? Is that what they say that makes him think he can do that all the time, even if it's on the edge of the box? He's a quality player, and I think that first half, he had a quality first half, apart from that one moment. But other than that, but is it because he's so young that he's just not ready for the other side of that game, or this other side of the game?
Yeah, I think it's that. He's riding the crest of a wave at the minute. He's had such a great start to the season with us. And that is the youth angle, isn't it? You're fearless and you feel like you're invincible. We've all been there. But then you learn that can come to bite you in an adult game. And he's now, playing with the big boys. And sometimes he will get found out and they'll man mark him, or they'll just be close to him. And you can't play out all the time. I mean, that was just begging. I think 90% of people would have just hoofed that ball, because just get it clear. Because what I've said this before previously, but with Morgan and Huth, they weren't amazing on the ball, but they just did the simple things right to keep things out of trouble. He's learnt the whole hard lesson there. I think JJ was unlucky with his clearance. I don't think it was an absolute howler from JJ. He obviously could do better, but the howler was from Buonanotte that put them in that position in the first place. And that is the naivety and fearlessness of youth, which can be really good on one hand, but then he's just got to learn that you're not going to beat everybody, mate. That's not how it works. Just keep it simple. We're in a team where possession is hard come by, and Forest were pushing at us, and they are on the up curve at the moment. Forest are. So just respect the opposition, not too much, but just do the simple things right.
Well, yeah, I think I heard Matt Piper? Matt Piper said that he couldn't get his feet in the right position to clear it, and he just hit him on his knee. I know it's a bit strange. You're a defender, you should be able to get yourself. Generous. Yeah, you should be able to get yourself set. Yeah, you should be able to get yourself set and easy to clear it. I don't know what he was trying to do, but we're talking about defence. When Vardy scored to make it 1-1. I mean, it's his 194th goal for the club, 140 in the Premier League. It's an unbelievable record. And I didn't know this. I don't know whether you knew it, that before the game, he'd only had 9 shots on target all season, and he'd scored 3 of them. So now he's had 10 shots on target and scored with 4, which is unbelievable record, though. From that point, did you see us going on and winning, or what did you think at that moment, Reader? Did you think it, or did you think, not sure?
At half time, I thought it was a fair result. Again, we all said the error was a big mistake, but we got back into the game, and I felt like we were in the game, and I felt like first half we were in more control of the game than they were. Maybe they had a few more attacks and a few more bigger threats of a goal, but I did think we were in control. But again, that goal that they scored to begin with in the second half was just. It just wasn't good enough. Again, it was a good finish, but you've got to be defending it. You've got to have your body in the way. And like I said, Chris Wood is just 11 years later after playing for us, he's still scoring goals in the Premier League. It's just mental, isn't it?
It is, isn't it? I mean, he's only 3 behind Haaland this year, 4 behind Haaland this year now.
second top goal
He's
scorer.
actually scored more goals than Man U have scored this year, I think. I think they've only scored 6 and he scored 7, which is, I don't know.
Don't say that, mate. Don't say that. We're going on that on Wednesday. Don't say that, mate.
Hey, hold on.
It could be a 7-0.
You've actually taken my next question. Near enough taken my next question. Will Wednesday night have any bearing on Saturday? He's bound to change the team, isn't he, on Wednesday night for the Man U game? I think Danny Ward will come in. I think Cody will come in. There'll be a few changes. Pereira will probably get another game because, like you said, I think he looks a bit rusty. And the more game time he plays, I think the better he will become. What do you think? It won't have much bearing, will it, in the game? So it's a bit of a free hit for the team, but it will give I don't like to B team, second team, reserve. I'm not quite sure how you say it nowadays. It will give them a chance to go to a big ground and try and force themselves into the game for Saturday, surely, won't it, Kate?
Yeah, I think so. I think, Ricardo will be looking to seal his place in the starting 11 for next Saturday. So I've thought he would play because he does look like he needs minutes. I know that people were saying that we were begging for him and he's come on and he wasn't that great, but you got to give the guy some credit. I mean, he's not played a minute this season, which I find that's another bizarre topic. Not one single minute. And he's asked to come in a derby match on a Friday night and just play his old role. And it's a massive ask for someone, really. He's not played proper football since May, and that's a lot. It's a long time. So I think hopefully he'll play again. I'd like to see Cody just have more minutes generally, because I think we really are begging for that leader at the back and that maturity. And someone to give Okoli and Fass a roasting, because who gave them a roasting after that third goal? I don't think anybody did. They were like, oh well, back to the drawing board. So I'd like to think he'll mix it up and try some of those fringe players out properly.
It was looking like on the TV, like I say, I keep saying on the TV, but it looked like FaZe was blaming Hermansen for not coming and collecting it. But for me, it's 10 yards further up the pitch. One of them two should have headed it away, or one of them two should have headed it away, or FaZe should have headed it away properly, not just let it. So I don't know how FaZe can be blaming Hermansen.
No, I mean, he could have done, but
he never cleared it, or he had two options to do. He either cleared it or pass it, or head it back to the keeper. He didn't either. He basically just put it on a plate for Chris Wood to score it. So he just did the one thing he shouldn't have done.
This is a bit of a Casey McAteer, Kate. He seems to have vanished off the face of the earth. He's not on the match day squad. Last year he was like going to be one of our star players, and we thought, right, he's going to be good in the. But then he's just vanished completely, hasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know what's happened there. I mean, I listened to his. I don't know if you guys listened to his interview the other week on the When You're Smiling, which was really interesting, and it sounds like he's positive, wants to be part of the main setup. I don't really know what's happened to him, to be honest. We had that discussion on Friday at the match, because he would be a really good sort of option for Steve Cooper, I think, to play there, and he's got experience of playing that type of football. I really don't know what's happened to him.
It is really strange. Just before we finish, the big question is, I'm not sure where Reed is going to go with this, so we'll start with you, Kate. Have we got enough to stay up?
Yes, we have got enough to stay up. We're nowhere near the bottom three at the moment. And it doesn't matter whether it's because the bottom 3 or 4 are worse than us, or Wolves have been terrible this year. It doesn't matter the reason. We aren't in the bottom 3, and we're quite clear from it at the moment. So I think we've got enough to stay up. Like anything, you've got to get the right order of things. You've got to get everyone on side with the way that you want to play, and you've got to stop making silly mistakes. But the most encouraging thing, and I think what costs a lot of teams their place in the Prem, is because they can't score enough. And I think only us and Man City have scored in every game now. So that is really promising and encouraging. We are generating chances to score. We're not generating enough. We're not. I don't know if you remember last year when Enzo came on board, and one of the first things he said to KDH was flood the box. Get in the box and you'll score. And I don't see that happening enough. We're not flooding the box. When we're in possession, even like Wilf's just kind of jogging back. I'm like, you need to be sprinting. Fatigu's made a few cutbacks in that Southampton game, and no one was there on the end of it. And you've got to flood the box if you want to score more. Our conversion rate is brilliant. You spoke about Vardy's conversion rate there. So I think we've got enough to stay up. It's just the temperament and organisation that needs a hell of a lot of work at the minute.
Yeah, you're saying about Wolves, I'll be a bit... A mate of mine's assistant manager of Wolves, Ian Birchnell. So I haven't spoke to him this season, so I don't want to. He's a big Leicester fan as well. I don't really want to upset him by saying, "Are you going down or staying up?" So hopefully Wolves stay up in my mind just because of Ian. But yeah, I can see Wolves. I can see there being 3 worst. It's exactly the same as when we won the Premier League. We were the better team, like Man City in that, and they had their worst. All of them had the worst season ever. All the Man City, Arsenal, Spurs, Man U. They didn't play very well, and I think it's the same now. I can see that we've got to take advantage of them bottom 4 or 5 not doing very well and try and picking up points against. I know we lost to Forest, but they were above us. But it's the teams below us. I think we've got to pick points up, like we did against Southampton. I was going to say Bournemouth, but they were above us, weren't they, Reedy, when we played them?
Bournemouth, yeah.
Yeah, they were above us. We've got to pick up points against them. Like next week, Ipswich is vital, isn't it? But Reedy, do you think we're going to stay up? All right, then. I'll ask you this one, Reedy. Do you think we're going to stay up with Steve Cooper?
Depends how he plays, mate.
Oh.
If he plays like he did against Friday night, I'd say probably there's a bigger chance. But
again, you're sitting on the bench. You're flip-flopping again.
It's hard because the 2 wins we have got this season are both very, very not fortunate, but we probably didn't deserve to win it in the end because the amount of chances that the teams have had against us. Again, we probably shouldn't and didn't deserve to come back against Southampton because of how we played in the first half, and then obviously the penalty chance that they probably should have had as well. Bournemouth again, 17 or 18 shots on target, or even on goal from them, and we somehow won it 1-0. Again, yes, I can see us staying up. I don't know if it'll be with Cooper or not, but as of now, we're in a better position than a lot of teams want to be. So hopefully, if we can beat Ipswich, then we've got a bit of leeway when we come against Chelsea and Man United in the league, and hopefully we can get at least a point or 2 out of them. So hopefully we can stay up, but it all depends on how we're playing because again, not I don't think many games this season have been pretty, in my opinion. But Friday night was different, and it's massive. It's mental to say because we lost, but I felt it different.
Would you rather take a pretty win, or just a win just a win, no matter how we win?
Both.
Both.
I just want the win. I don't care if it's ugly or not. I don't care.
Yeah.
You know, it's an interesting take because I'm quite a positive person. And it's interesting to hear Reedy there say about, the wins were fortunate. Whilst the wins were fortunate, so you could argue that if Vardy had scored the 1-on-1 against Spurs,
fair enough. Yeah,
it
fair
works
enough.
both ways. It depends what you want to dwell on. So we could have won the Spurs game. I know the first half was dreadful, but we could have won it. Arsenal, we were just undone. We didn't expect to get to. Not many people will get 2 goals at the Emirates this year. So I take a win, however it comes, ugly, however, last minute penalty, weird decision, whatever it comes. And even if we've had 1% possession, because that's all we are in the race for this year. We want to finish 17th, and we've got 2 wins on the board. It's 2 more than 4 other teams.
Yeah. Read it. See,
I get the point of it. I get the point of you look on the other side. I see that yes, we could have scored another goal versus Bournemouth. We could have won the game against Palace if we didn't make the error. I get it, but I just think in my eyes, I prefer to see a better style of football because then that normally would convert in more wins or better results. And like last season, I thought we played well in the way we played, and we did get champions, but it wasn't obviously. We didn't get there clear, but this season again, most of the games haven't been pretty to watch. But like you said, Jamie, it all depends on how many points you get out of the game. So hopefully, even if we play ugly against Ipswich and we win, I couldn't care less. But in my eyes, I just prefer to see better football, and that's why I thought Friday was a better style of football for us because it felt like we were in more control at times.
I do feel like we said this a lot about Enzo last year, though. Like, I don't know if you guys went to the Plymouth or the Bristol City away matches, but they were absolutely dross. And it was frustrating. It was just plan A all the way. Bringing Daka on, persevering with Daka. Those, playing out from the back, we're 1-0 down and we're just passing it around the back like we're 4-0 up. Like the frustrations are with every single manager. I just feel sometimes the balance is needed because Enzo looked the part and spoke the part. And sometimes his methods were just as frustrating. But we're in a different league this year. It's very, very different. And each year the Prem improves and the gap gets wider between that and the Championship. And we're just playing catch up a bit. We've been screwed over by PSR. And we're rebuilding. We're not going to get the points deduction, hopefully, and we're rebuilding. And we just need to steady the ship. And you need all hands to the pump for that.
Kate, we've been trying to educate Reedy on exactly all them points you have said. And Phil, the editor, has got Reedy working for him in his office. And luckily this week, Reedy's only there for 2.5 days. And they keep going on about Reedy moaning about this, that, and the other. And they keep trying to educate him. So, Reedy, hope you've listened to Kate here and taken note.
Hey, it's all opinions, isn't it, mate? Again,
it's all exactly the same. What we've been telling you.
I want to stay up. I want Cooper to do well. But again, with the style of football we're watching, I don't think it's going to get us as many points as I think we need it. That's just my thoughts on it. Again, as long as we get the wins, it doesn't matter. But I just want to see one performance in the next couple of games that is a consistent 90 minutes that keeps us dominating the game. If we can't keep playing 45 minutes or even less minutes in a game and expect to win the game, you can't.
And we can't keep bleeding 3 goals. I mean, 3 goals on Pounce is
we can't keep making mistakes as well. It's like, did you hear the interview with Owen and Steve Cooper after the game?
I've not heard it yet. I keep meaning to hear it. I've heard.
Owen asked him about the 3 mistakes again, and he says, "What other mistakes?" And literally, he says, "What mistakes?" This is like previous games. And then Owen was trying to tell him, and he just nearly enough blanked Owen about these mistakes that we keep making. Us fans seem to know they're making mistakes. He mentioned about the Forest mistakes, yes, but then he said, "What other mistakes?" He said, "What mistakes?" So I don't know, but I don't think Steve Cooper's not be like Enzo used to like throwing the players under the bus a little bit. Rodgers was doing that as well. Every manager has their own style, and I think we've just got to get used to it. Same as
Cooper's
Pure.
a bit nervous on camera as well. I don't think he's a natural cameraman. That's another skill set, isn't it? Really, I don't. He's a kind of man off the street type of thing, really.
Yeah, he's a bit like me. I've got face for radio better than TV. So, all right then, Kate. Thanks a lot for joining us on a Sunday morning. I hope you enjoy the rest of the day.
Thanks for having me on.
You're welcome, Kate. And we'll have everyone's loved it you being on. So I think we'll have to have you on again very shortly.
No problem. Yeah, I'd love that.
You're welcome, Kate. Thanks a lot. Thanks for joining me.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.
There you go, Reedy. Reedy got put in his place there. We've been telling you and telling you and telling you. Now, a fan's come on and told you exactly what everyone's been trying to tell you. But anyway, Reedy, it's been a pleasure you joining me again today. Enjoy your 2.5 days at work.
Yes.
Nice long weekend for you.
Enjoying the Man U game and then going to Ipswich. Can't wait.
Oh, don't sound too enthusiastic about it.
When Cooper's in charge, mate. I'm joking.
Ooh. Well, clip that for socials, that will. Yes, Craig, she does talk a very good game, doesn't she? Reedy?
Don't I talk a good game?
No, you just talk a lot of nonsense, really. And unintelligent waffle.
Right. I'll see you in a bit before you owe me more. See you in a bit.
Oh, yeah, but yes. Oh, yeah, I'm back for the Chelsea game. I'm back for the next home game. 23rd of November, I'll be there. So if anyone wants to come and buy me a pint, we'll sort something out the night before.
Or buy me a pint.
I'll buy you a pint every day. Not every day of the week, but that 1 hour, I'll be with you.
And make sure you buy your sweets.
Oh, yeah, the Werthers, yeah. You'll definitely get the Werthers. That's a point.
Right. See you in a bit.
Hold on a minute. Hold on. Scott says, Reedy, you talk a good negative game. There you go. It was positive today. It was more positive than it normally is.
Hey, if we play like that, if it's against Forest, against every other team, I'd be loving it, mate. I'd be loving it because we would be getting more wins than we did losses.
They make them in Leicester anyway, so I don't know why you want me to bring them. They make them with Walkers anyway, Lays Chris, so you can just go and get some from their pal if you want.
No, Lays Chris, not Walkers Chris, mate.
No, that's where they make them. Didn't you know that?
What, Lays?
Lays are made by Walkers.
I know that. I just thought they were made in the country because they were there.
No, they're made there. They are made there.
Fair enough.
Right then, Reedy, we shall speak to you later. See you later. There we go. Thanks a lot for joining me. Much appreciated. Early doors on a Sunday morning. Don't forget, every week at 10 o'clock. Much appreciated. Well, every week at 10 o'clock through the winter. In the summer, of course, it changes. But it's ciao, ciao, adios, goodbye, yakida. Come on, you foxes. There goes the final whistle.
The Leicester City machine is on the march again.
Leicester Fan TV presents A variety of content like fan discussions, match analysis, and engaging with Leicester fans worldwide. We want your views live, thanks to our sponsors, Everard's, Pucker Pies, Hologram, Take Me, Newbie & Co, and the Fox's Arms.
Want to watch more content like this? Hit the like button. Give us your views. Hit subscribe to Leicester Fan TV and make sure to follow Leicester Fan TV on all socials.